ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you exactly how I transformed my skin. Well, the journey is actually still continuing, but how I got my skin from looking like this to how I got it to look like this, which should also show you everything you need to know on how to transform your skin. And this is coming from someone who has obviously made the transformation, but also someone who has tried more products than anyone should ever try, and also someone who is called Skin Info Can. So if I had to boil down almost everything into a single video, this would be it. And then somewhere in this video, I'm also going to show you guys the current routine I use to keep my skin looking like this. And that's going to be my day and my night routine as well. Right, now the first thing that I wish I knew and that you should know before getting into any skincare is your skin type. Now finding out your skin type is actually quite easy. There's loads of tutorials online. Essentially you cleanse your face, you pat it dry, and then you wait to see, does it stay dry, balance out, and it feels normal, etc. And the reason why you want to know your skin type is because there's no point putting diesel in a petrol car and vice versa. Not only will this save your skin from potential unnecessary breakouts, redness, whatever it may be, or just a product that won't work, but in turn, it'll also help save you money, time, effort, just the stuff you don't really want to waste when it comes to this. Now, once you know your skin type, which takes around 10 to 15 minutes, it narrows down the field significantly, and not only on what products you should use, but also how often as well. I got dry skin, right? So what I need to use products that help my skin barrier and also give me hydration as well. So there are definitely differences in skin types, but the basics are the basics in skincare. And what I mean by this is these are things like the cleanser, the moisturizer, and the sunscreen, and the things that everyone wants to use and needs to use. And maybe you know it, you could add in a little retinol into the mix as well. So really, at this point, once you know your skin type and you use those three main products, then anything you add to that is supplementary and it can be geared towards your skin type. So for example, vitamin C, niacinamide, hyaluronic acid, anything along those lines. Right, so the next mistake I made when starting my skincare journey is not giving, either giving too much time to a product and sort of trying to trust the process, or not giving it enough time. Now obviously if it's giving you breakouts, redness, or a rash or something, then I probably wouldn't use that product. Unless it's a retinol, which is meant to give you breakouts for a certain period of time at first. But other than that, I'd quit the product if it's doing that. But then also at the same time, if it gives you great results, sometimes I think that's a bit sus. It can be a bit superficial perhaps. So I wouldn't hedge all your bets and continue to use that product and say it's your holy grail until you've used it, or the opposite, if it's a bad product. I'd use it for around a month, the time it takes for the skin to adjust and the skin cycle to happen, and then, really give a good judgment and see whether you want to include it in your routine or chuck it out. Now, a good way is just take photos of your face, same lighting, same angle, and then compare them a couple weeks after to see if it's working, and then you can make up your mind. So, I didn't experiment with the hairstyle I had growing up much, but what I did do is have the same hairstyle and it kind of evolved. But regardless, a lot of hair ended up laying on my forehead. And what I noticed when I was doing this was I would get more breakouts on my forehead. Eventually, it wasn't that hard to put one and one together, and I realized that my hair was causing me breakouts. And I was far from using a lot of hair product as well because it, clumped my hair together and my hair was thin to begin with. So you can imagine, right, if you're using a lot of product in your hair, how breakouts can appear and start to appear. And then on top of that as well, let's say you have long hair or you're sweating, you can adjust your hair, get it out of your face, and the bacteria, oil, and all that stuff is now transferred onto your fingers, and if you touch your face, then it's a rough cycle. And this bit's frustrating as well because sometimes we do it subconsciously. I mean, I even still do it now and I'm aware of it. So it's just something to keep in the back of your mind. Now, something for the life of me that I couldn't figure out when I was growing up and I had acne and I couldn't get rid of it was why there would be these marks left over after a spot. But there is one really good way that I found that helped me throughout my skin journey to not pick my face. And they're called hydrocolloid patches. You probably heard of them. Might have seen Central C wear them, those star ones. Although I don't know if those are hydrocolloid. But anyway, those were my ride or dies. So once you pop a spot, the process doesn't really stop there. You've got maybe some blood, some pus, and it continues to leak stuff. It's normal, whatever. But what I found was if I have a whitehead at night or a spot that's just appearing, I'd stick one on at night. And by the time you wake up, it should have either absorbed all of that gunk, or once you take it off, most of it would have been absorbed as well. And then you just need to gently squeeze it. It should come out, the rest of it. At one point as well, I started looking into the idea of developing my own type of hydrocolloid patch because I'm such a fan. To get back to the point that I was originally talking about was those dark spots, right? They appear and sometimes they do stay. Now, in the off chance that those spots and breakouts somehow get popped or squeezed, then what can you do? When you get sun exposure on the area and it's unprotected and it causes hyperpigmentation, which is that leaving lasting mark that's noticeable on your face after a spot. Because while a breakout may last a couple of days or a week, maybe even a little bit longer than that if it's one of those under the skin ones. Those are super painful, but those have nothing against hyperpigmentation and the marks that will be left after a breakout and how long those will stay. Because while the other ones will last a couple of days, maybe even a week, the hyperpigmentation will last weeks and maybe even up to a month and more. And I've had cases where I haven't really had any pimples or blemishes on my face, but because of these marks, and I didn't take the right approach, which I'm going to explain to you guys in just a second, it looked like I had more breakouts and blemishes than I did. Now, the prevention method is very simple. You've probably heard me say it before. It's just sunscreen. You want to put sunscreen on the area, and this just essentially stops the UV rays from damaging your skin and causing hyperpigmentation on those areas. But for the ones that stay longer, I'll use an exfoliant once or twice a week. I'll also make sure to use a retinol, but not on the same day as the exfoliant. And then also I'll use vitamin C in the morning as well. Nowadays, because I'm pretty good with applying my sunscreen, they don't really tend to stay around for that long. But at the end of the day, if you do want to use vitamin C as well, it gives you a load of other benefits. So it's sort of a win-win if you use it. This next one usually flies under the radar. So when you go to a hotel, what's probably your first thought when you get into that room? I don't know about you, but for me, it's how many people have slept in here and have they cleaned it or how clean it is. But for some reason, not everyone does the same for their own house. Obviously, they'll sleep in their bed every single night. They'll put their head on the same pillow, but they don't necessarily apply that same logic to their own pillows and stuff, because even though they're sleeping on those every single day, they can still get dirty. And this doesn't only extend to pillowcases, right? Because there's a lot of things that will touch your face, but also this, your phone. So this is just a reminder to make sure to keep things clean. Now, I make it a priority to clean my pillowcases at least once every week and a half to 2 weeks, and also clean my phone screen whenever I go to the gym. I mean, it's pretty easy. I just use an antibacterial wipe. And so yeah, I kid you not, in the following weeks that I implemented these tips and tricks into my routine, I would notice significantly less breakouts on the side of my face that would normally have gotten the most breakouts in just a small amount of time. Another thing I feel we also overlook and we get caught up in is either looking too much into personal testimonials of a product, and you know, if it works for someone else, it's got to work for us. And on top of that as well, maybe even reading too much into the science. So in a way, I'm saying listen to the science, listen to the testimonials, but more importantly, see how your skin reacts to it. Unless it's Korean skincare, and maybe even French too. So it's a new day and I haven't done my skincare routine yet, and as promised, I'm going to run you guys through everything I use. Now when it comes to the actual brands that I use, there are a consistent few that I tend to go back to, but I'm always getting PR. So what I do is I try and keep the ingredients the same, just sometimes I'll try with different brands. But the ones I'm going to show you guys today are the ones that I tend to go back to. Now the first product in my routine in the day I actually ran out of, which is wonderful, but it was this 10% niacinamide serum from Skin 1004. I get quite a lot of blackheads on my nose, and also I've been noticing a couple more on my forehead area. So this has been a great product to help minimize the appearance of those. So the first product I use in my routine is vitamin C. It's got antioxidants, it helps brighten the skin tone, helps reduce the appearance of these dark spots you get. I just put 4 drops on, I kind of just rub that everywhere. Now with vitamin C serums, it's usually hit or miss. I find for the most part, a lot of them are good. Sometimes they'll cause you a bit of irritation, but in that case, I'd recommend just swapping maybe to one that is less of a percentage of vitamin C, or you know, just find one that works for you. But this is one of the best ingredients you can use in your daytime skincare routine. Now for my next product, my skin is pretty sensitive. The wind is quite harsh, it makes my skin red. The heating inside makes my skin quite flush and red. Also, it can dry it out as well. But anyways, what I've been doing is I've been using this Ampoule Centella Asiatica one. Now in terms of how long I actually wait in between applying one product and the other, it doesn't really matter for me. We got stuff to do, right? So I'll put one on and then I'll just put the next one directly on after that. Now my routine in the day is usually 3 or 4 products, depending on how much time I have and what I'm doing. A serum, vitamin C, or niacinamide, one that's going to target an actual concern. The next one is something calming, and then a moisturizer and a sunscreen. But a product that I'm actually experimenting with at the moment is an eye cream. So I'm going to be testing this one over the next couple of weeks. And you know, if you notice a difference in my under eye area, then it's because I'm using an eye cream. Next, you have to hydrate. You have to lock in the moisture, and so therefore you have to use a moisturizer. So if you know, you know. This is my one, the Sea Soother Cream. You can use it all year round. It's a light moisturizer, but I find it especially useful in the winter where my skin is super dry. Now the website's undergoing a little bit of a revamp, not available to buy yet, but hopefully once I sort a couple of things out, you guys will be able to try it out. And so yeah, same as how I apply the other products in my routine. I just kind of put it all over. The moisturizer also has sea buckthorn oil in it as well, so that helps with breakouts, redness, inflammation. So it kind of has multiple benefits for a moisturizer. Now the last product I use is on its last legs, to be honest. It's a sunscreen, and I like this one. And that will wrap up my full skincare routine for the day. So I use 5 products. I wash my face with water. That does the trick. The most important steps are definitely the sunscreen. Everything else is also important as well. But you know, mainly that sunscreen, moisturizer if it's the winter, vitamin C for brightening the skin, and then niacinamide occasionally if I do want to get rid of the appearance or, you know, reduce the appearance of the blackheads on my nose and elsewhere, wherever they spawn in. Which is why you should be using a nighttime routine as well. So for that whole day you've been at work, or you've been on the tube, the subway, or you've just been sweating at the gym, this is what the nighttime routine will address. Firstly, by using a cleanser. So whether you're a morning shower person or an evening shower person, cleansing at night will not only help physically remove dirt, excess oil, makeup if you do decide to wear, or any other impurities, but mentally it gives you that clean feeling as well. Now the second product I use in my nighttime routine after the cleanser, and also the second best product probably behind a sunscreen, is a topical retinoid. Now I'm either using this one right here, which has retinol and also a bunch of other ingredients in it as well, or I'm using a 1% retinol. Retinol really is that product to use in a skincare routine, specifically in the night, because it is sensitive to the UV rays, and also it can make your skin more sensitive to the sunlight, so that's why you use it at night. It has anti-aging properties, it promotes collagen production, and also it was originally for treating acne, so it has acne benefits as well. And just generally as well, it speeds up cell turnover, so it'll give your skin a healthier looking appearance. Now if you're new to retinoid, I'd recommend the sandwich method. This is what worked for me. Essentially means you put a moisturizer on before and after, and it acts as a buffer and will help with some of that irritation, dryness, and redness you may get when first integrating a retinol into your routine. And then over time, as your skin begins to tolerate it, as you maybe increase the percentage and the frequency at which you use it, you can just use a moisturizer afterwards. You don't need to use one beforehand. So yeah, the moisturizer makes another appearance in the nighttime routine, and you definitely want to follow it if you're using a retinoid. And also as well, if you're just going to cleanse, definitely use a moisturizer as well. Now there are of course ways to level it up from here. For example, if you want to include matrixyl in your skincare routine or hyaluronic acid. But if you use those products, the cleanser, the retinoid, and the moisturizer, you're probably about 90% of the way complete in terms of leveling up. But then if you saw, you can also get some of those ingredients integrated into a single product. So for example, this one right here has retinol, it has matrixyl, niacinamide, and a lot of other ingredients that will benefit your skin. And then same goes to the cleanser as well. This has BHAs in it, so it'll give some exfoliating properties when you use it. So yeah, I've been consistently using a full skincare routine for the past 5 years now. I've been able to transform my skin, and I've gotten it to a state where I feel comfortable in it, which is the main goal. And anything else is a cherry on top. I'd recommend everyone start a skincare routine. Start for the basics and go from there. It can do wonders for your skin, obviously, and therefore your confidence and also your care and discipline. And this should transcend into other parts of your life as well. So yeah, that's my full routine and how I transformed my skin. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.